So this is going to be a little bit unique because this is one of the few times where I kind of create an episode and then after having everything said and done and laid out, I'm going to go back and just redo the whole thing. So what happened? Originally, this video was going to deal with a different topic. And basically the topic was, is Star Citizen a scam? But when you kind of look at it, the width and the breadth of everything that's being done, all the people that they employ, all the different office spaces that they're renting out, the equipment, everything that they're spending money on. I mean, if it's a scam, it's a pretty dumb scam because you're spending all the money that you're scamming off of people. And if it fails, then you've pretty much written off your career in most cases, and you'll pretty much have to go into hiding in one or two cases. So this being a scam, not entirely buying it. Now, is it a game that, has some issues in development? Certainly. Have there been some missteps? Yeah, absolutely. But it's something that, when people kind of look at it and go, oh my God, why would you even put like a basic game package? Why would you even get into this? It's a game that's going to take time because it's something that literally hasn't been done before. It's going to take time to kind of nail all of this down, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. I mean, if you've been watching this game's development, you know the pitfalls, you know the problems, and you know the places where they've kind of broken new ground. And instead, I kind of want to turn this video around and take it in that direction. Because it was that, along with a little incident that happened at the end of last week, which most of you may not have heard about or even be aware of because it involves a completely different game. It's something that I think people don't really realize, something that Star Citizen has done. And, some people say it's something that Chris Roberts has done. But no, I mean, it's a team effort. It's all these people. And something that they've done that many people probably have yet to kind of fully realize the implications of what they've already done. Now, Star Citizen obviously does face challenges. There's so many of the game's profession systems, so many of the game's, just the ships, the different game mechanics, how all of this is going to work are just not there yet. Are absolutely not there yet. And these things are going to take time to finish. And anyone's like, oh yeah, by this time next year we'll be in beta and everything will count and everything will be just fine and dandy. No. No. We've got some time yet. But instead, if you look at a different game, an established game universe, right? Any MMO that you're thinking of, from swords and sorcery to spaceships and robots, wherever you fall in between, from SWTOR to ESO to World of Warcraft. If you look at any one of those universes and you take the most basic thing that we have in Star Citizen right now, which is basically these moons, these planets, and you apply that tech to those established worlds, think about that for a second. One of the big problems with a lot of the current MMOs that are out there, especially the sword and sorcerer type, fantasy RPG MMOs, is that their areas, their zones can feel a little theme parky. They can feel like a little bit of a Disney Adventureland in the way that they're designed and the way that they're built out, because they don't really feel like real places, if you know what I mean. I mean, anywhere you go, well, you know what, I'll just use the World of Warcraft universe because that is, for me, personally my best reference. Using even that universe, you can see that
these kingdoms, they don't have enough farmland to really support them. They're not overly realistic. Yet they do have their signature art style over there at Blizzard, and it's something that players have become accustomed to. Some people look at it and they go, oh, that's all low res and it looks like shit. But other people kind of understand that it's a bit of an aesthetic choice, and generally, for the most part, it fits that universe. But it still doesn't feel like a real universe anymore. Certainly when it was new, when it was fresh, when it was young, people looked at it and they went, oh my god, all these crazy zones to explore, all these secrets to find. But now it's kind of a lived-in world, and it's a very small world. It's not a very expansive or amazing world to look at the way that it was, say, maybe back in 2004, 2005. And a lot of games are like that. They're still kind of trapped in that old way of looking at building game worlds. Then along comes Star Citizen, and now all of a sudden you realize that you can build an entire planet. You can create that space. I mean, if you go from the very top of the Eastern Kingdoms in WoW all the way to the very bottom, if you go from the Gates of Silver Moon to Booty Bay, that takes, on a direct route, using only a land mount, that takes about 35 minutes to make that trip. And think about building that world now on the scale of a Daymar or a Yella or a Chelon. Think about that. How big could you build that world? How expansive, how amazing would that world be to look at? A world that revolves, where there's an actual natural day and night cycle, where there can be weather. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? Also, probably a good idea to play a mage at that point, because you're definitely not going to want to travel on horseback everywhere you go. You're probably just going to want a portal. But you see what I'm saying? Think about how superior a world you can build using that type of technology, and realizing that, you know, we're kind of there now. Thanks to this, we're kind of there. We can build this, and we can populate it, and we can drop in the pieces that we need, and we can customize the biomes, and we can place different structures, and we can make it a game that interacts with perhaps our established rules and our established game systems. I mean, if you can simply take that basic structure, those ideas that you've already developed, that you've already worked on, that you already have, and you can drop it even onto a small moon like this, you make an incredibly huge play area for players to enjoy. Something that players can endlessly explore. You can create structures on a scale that you could never create before. It really kind of opens up the possibilities. And that's one of the unique things that I don't think a lot of people have really picked up that Star Citizen has done, is that no one has done it to this level of fidelity, you know, at this scale. No one's done this. Certainly, there are games like EVE Online and certainly Elite Dangerous that have built, you know, to a certain degree. I think Elite is the one that has landing on planets, but nothing to this level of fidelity. And EVE Online has an entire galaxy, but when you get down to it, it's space stations that you're mostly visiting. I believe, apart from what was it, Dust 531 or 541, you never really get down to the planet's surface at all in EVE Online. I mean, it's been a long time since I played, but I believe that's currently where those two sit. It's very easy to quickly get lost in the possibilities here. I mean, think about bringing back Star Wars Galaxies using this planetary tech. I mean, consider that. Consider the effect on player housing, the economy, the world that you could create. No longer just these bordered little landing zones like in the Old Republic. Now it's an entire planet that you can go and explore, and the developers can fill it up with different things as they need them for various storylines or various levels of gameplay. You can say, oh, now you get to, you're level 60 now you get to go back to Tatooine, and you can go and do all the stuff that's over in this area. All these quests, all these missions have unlocked. Think about that for a second. any game developer who isn't currently looking at this and saying, wow, this just changed everything because now we can really build our worlds at a scale that we never thought was possible. They're going to be, if they're not thinking about this, they're going to be left behind, because I guarantee you there are game developers who are looking at this right now and who are saying, we need to incorporate this. There's a lot of game worlds out there in drastic need of renovation and update. And look at this. I mean, can you imagine any one of your favorite game worlds transposed into this? I mean, consider, just the possibilities are mind-boggling. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who would like to believe that Star Citizen's legacy on gaming is going to ultimately be one of failure, but no matter where the project heads, I bet you there's a lot of game developers out there right now who are looking at their next stage plans for their games, then saw this and just balled those plans up and said, shit, we got to start again.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.